Ember Ring never slept. The metal decks hummed. Steam vents hissed. Neon lights blinked like tired eyes in the dark. Every walkway carried the smell of hot oil, metal dust, and thousands of passing boots. Jax Rowan stood behind his small food stall in the lower promenade, stirring a pot of thick spiced broth. He moved with quiet focus, steady, controlled, like a man who had lived too long in dangerous places. His apron smelled of grilled meat and pepper oil. His shirt was damp from the steam drifting around him. He wasn't just a cook. Once, he had been a combat medic in real wars. Now he cooked noodles to stay busy, to stay quiet, to forget. He placed a fresh bowl on the counter. A perfect serving of Spirefire noodles, steam rising in slow curls. The customer who ordered it was late, but that was normal on Ember Ring. Jax wiped his hands on a cloth and turned to prepare the next dish. That's when he noticed movement. Quick, sharp, wrong. A small shadow slipped to the counter. Tiny fingers grabbed the bowl. And then, gone. The bowl vanished into the crowd. Jax blinked once. Then his instincts kicked in. A small figure ran between rushing workers, holding the bowl close like treasure. Her skin was a warm ember red, hair long and silver, feet bare and dirty. She looked no older than 10, and she was terrified. Jax vaulted over the counter in one smooth motion. His boots splashed into puddled water. People cursed as he pushed through them. The girl moved fast, too fast for someone so thin. She dodged under arms, leaped over crates, slid past vendors shouting at her. Her tunic flapped behind her like a torn flag. Jax felt frustration rise. Food wasn't cheap here. Supplies were limited. He couldn't afford thieves. But the frustration mixed with something else, worry. The girl looked starving. Her bones showed under her skin. Her breathing sounded sharp and painful even from a distance. She turned sharply and slipped into a narrow side passage. The lights flickered above her. The corridor was quieter, colder, filled with the drip of leaking pipes. Jax followed, heart steady, breath controlled. He didn't call for security. He didn't shout at her. He just kept running. The girl reached an old service fence and pushed herself through a gap barely wide enough for a child. Jax grabbed the metal grating, pulled hard, and squeezed himself inside. The cold, wet metal scraped his arms, but he kept going. Inside the maintenance hall, the noise of the station disappeared. Here, everything felt abandoned. Dust floated through the air like slow-moving snow. The girl hurried to a half-open hatch and slipped inside. Jax slowed, listened, then pushed the hatch wider. He stepped into a cramped maintenance alcove turned into a tiny shelter. A thin mat, a broken heater, a dented kettle. Damp clothes hung from old pipes. And in the middle of the room, the girl knelt beside a woman lying on the floor. The woman had the same red skin and silver hair, but her face was pale, almost gray. Her chest rose and fell in small, uneven breaths. Her lips were cracked. Her eyes were half closed. The stolen bowl sat in front of her, still steaming. The girl clutched the edge of the bowl with shaking fingers. When she saw Jax, she jumped up, spreading her arms. "Don't touch her," she cried. Her voice shook from fear. "Don't call the wardens. Please, please don't call them." Jax froze. Not from fear. From recognition. He had seen this before. Back in the war. People hiding the sick because the system didn't care about them. He raised both hands slowly. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "I just want to help." The girl trembled. Her eyes were bright gold, wide with panic. "She's my mother," she whispered. "She can't breathe right. If the wardens find us, they'll take her away. They take sick people. They don't bring them back." Jax stepped closer to the woman. Her skin was burning. Her breathing had the harsh, wet rattle of advanced infection. This wasn't simple illness. This was life or death. Jax looked at the girl. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Esana," she said. "And my mother is Rila." Jax exhaled slowly. He knew exactly what he had stepped into. A starving child, a dying mother, and a system ready to erase them both. He knelt beside Rila and touched her forehead. Too hot. Far too hot. Then he looked at Sana again. "I'm not calling the wardens," he said. "I'm taking both of you with me." Sana blinked. You're helping us?" Jax lifted Rila gently into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. He met Sana's frightened eyes. "Yes," he said. "Stay close. Don't let go." And together, they stepped back into the dangerous world of Ember Ring. The walk back through Ember Ring felt longer than usual. Jax carried Rila carefully, making sure every step was steady. Sanaa walked right beside him, one hand gripping his coat so tightly her knuckles turned pale. People stared as they passed, some with curiosity, some with judgment, some simply because no one carried strangers here, especially not sick ones. The neon lights flickered above them. Shadows stretched across the metal floors like thin, dark fingers. Vendors shouted prices. Machines clanked. Heat vents hissed. But around Jax, everything felt strangely quiet. Sanaa looked up at him. Is she breathing? Is she still alive? Jax glanced down. Rilla's chest rose in small, rough pulls. Her skin burned like fire against his arm. She's alive, he said. But she needs more help than you could give in that place. Sanaa swallowed hard. We tried to stay hidden. She kept saying, one more day, Sanaa, one more day. But she kept getting worse. Jax didn't answer. He understood that kind of desperation too well. People hiding because asking for help meant losing everything. A patrol drone buzzed overhead, blue light sweeping the walkway. Sanaa stiffened. Jax didn't slow. The drone hovered closer. Unusual transport detected. Do you require security assistance? Jax looked straight into the lens. No. She fainted near my stall, taking her to my quarters. The drone scanned his ID. A moment passed, dangerous, silent, heavy. Then the machine chimed approval and flew off. Sanaa released a shaky breath. You knew what to say. I knew what would keep security out of our way, Jax replied. They reached a narrow stairwell at the back of the promenade. Jax climbed slowly, making sure he didn't jostle Rilla. Sanaa followed close, tiny feet tapping on the metal steps. Finally, they reached his small living unit above the stall. Jax unlocked the door with a quick swipe. It hissed open, revealing a compact room. A bed, a small couch, a kitchenette, and a single window glowing with city lights. Warm, dry, quiet. Very different from the cold maintenance corner. Sanaa stopped at the doorway, afraid to enter. She looked like someone expecting to be yelled at or shoved back outside. Jax noticed. You can come in, he said softly. You're safe here. Sanaa stepped inside slowly, looking around like she had never seen a real home before. Jax laid Rilla on the bed. Her breathing rattled, each inhale sounding like a fight against something heavy inside her lungs. Sanaa rushed to her side. Mom? We're safe now. You can rest. Jax opened a drawer and pulled out a small metal case. His old field medic kit. He knelt beside Rilla. Her pulse was weak, her forehead burning, her wrists thin as branches. Sanaa's voice trembled. Can you fix her? Jax looked at her honestly. I can try, but she needs medicine. Real medicine. Sanaa lowered her head. We can't pay. We don't have anything. Jax almost smiled. I didn't ask for payment. He scanned Rilla's chest with the small handheld tool. The screen lit up with warning symbols. Severe infection. Fluid buildup. Airflow restricted. Not good, but not hopeless. Sanaa crawled closer, knees on the floor. Is she dying? Jax met her eyes. No, not if we act now. He stood and walked to his old comm unit. His fingers hovered for a moment before he selected a contact. Cade, he said when the line connected. A tired man's voice came through. Jax, you never call unless something is on fire. It is, Jax replied. I have a patient. Alien. Advanced lung infection. I need a filter rig and strong antifungals. Cade went silent, then sighed loudly. You know that's illegal without registration. I know, Jax said quietly. But she doesn't have time. Another long pause. Then, send me your location. I'll come. Jax ended the call and turned back. Sanaa watched him with wide, confused eyes. You have a doctor friend? A stubborn one, Jax said. But good. Sanaa looked at her mother again. Rilla's breath rattled. Her hands twitched weakly. Will she wake up? Sanaa whispered. Not tonight, Jax said. But she's holding on. He moved to the kitchenette, lit the small burner, and boiled water. He added dried herbs, a spoon of broth powder, and a piece of soft root. Soon the aroma filled the room. Warm, simple, comforting. Sanaa's stomach growled loudly. She froze in embarrassment. Jax placed a bowl in front of her. You need to eat. I should wait, she murmured. Maybe Mom needs it. Jax shook his head. She needs you strong. Eat. Sanaa hesitated, then took a slow bite. Her eyes watered, not from the heat, but from the feeling of warmth spreading through her small body. This is good, she whispered. We haven't had real food in a long time. Jax sat beside Rilla again, checking her breathing, her pulse, her skin. He adjusted the pillow under her head. He didn't say it aloud, but inside his mind, a quiet promise formed. You're not dying in my home. I won't let that happen. Time moved slowly inside Jax's small living unit. The outside of Ember Ring was loud and restless, but here, everything felt paused. Almost silent. Almost sacred. Rila lay weakly on the bed, breathing in shallow, uneven pulls. Her skin glowed with a dull heat, sweat gathered at her temples, and her fingers twitched every few seconds like her body was fighting something deep inside. Sana sat beside her, tiny hands clasped around her mother's wrist. Every time Rila exhaled, Sana's shoulders tensed, as if she feared the next breath might not come. Jax stayed alert, moving around the room, checking supplies, listening to every sound Rila made. He had patched up soldiers, civilians, even dying smugglers. But this was different. This was a child's last hope. He could feel the weight of it in the room. A sharp knock broke the quiet. 3 controlled taps. The signal he recognized. Jax opened the door. Cade slipped inside, long coat half-buttoned, bag slung over his shoulder, eyes heavy with sleeplessness. The hall lights behind him flickered, giving him a shadowed, restless look. You owe me for this, Cade muttered, stepping in. Twice. Jax nodded. I'll pay later. She needs help now. Cade approached the bed, eyes narrowing as he assessed Rila's breaths. The sound alone told him enough. Severe, he whispered. Too severe for someone without medical access. Sana shifted, moving slightly in front of her mother. Her small voice trembled. Please don't take her away. Please. Cade froze, not from fear, but from guilt. He lowered himself to Sana's height. I'm not here to take your mother, he said quietly. I'm here because Jax asked. And when he asks, it's usually important. He unzipped his medical bag. Inside were small metal vials, a portable air filter, a soft mask, and a compact injector. Jax handed him a clean towel. Cade wiped his hands and leaned close to Rila. Hold her steady, he said. Jax moved behind the bed, supporting Rila's shoulders while Cade pressed the injector against her upper arm. A soft hiss sounded as medicine pushed into her bloodstream. Rila flinched weakly, a small sound escaping her lips. Sana reached forward. Mom, it's okay. It's okay. Jax gently rested a hand on Sana's back. She feels you here. That helps. Cade checked his scanner. Numbers flickered, stabilizing little by little. The good news, he said. She's responding. Sana gasped softly. She's getting better? She's trying, Cade corrected. It's not instant. Her lungs are full of infection. But with this treatment, she has a chance. A chance. The words felt warm in the cold room. Jax adjusted the mask over Rila's face while Cade attached the small air filter. A steady flow of medicated vapor filled the mask, swirling faintly with blue light. Rila's chest rose again. Still weak. Still painful, but more steady than before. Sana leaned close, almost whispering to the mask. Breathe, Mom, please breathe. Cade stepped back, rubbing his tired eyes. She'll need several more cycles. And fluids. And heat. He pointed to Jax. You remember everything I taught you? Unfortunately, Jax said. Cade snorted. Then she's in good hands. He packed his tools, stood, and headed for the door, then paused. Jax, he said quietly. You know what happens if the station finds out? Jax's reply was simple, firm, unshaken. They won't. Cade nodded once and slipped out into the dark hallway. The door closed softly. Sana's voice broke the quiet. Will she wake up? Maybe not tonight, Jax said. But the medicine is working. Her chest isn't fighting as hard now. Sana wiped her eyes with her sleeve. You saved her. You saved us. Jax shook his head gently. I'm just helping. That's all. He went to the kitchenette again, heating water. Steam rose slowly as he stirred in herbs. Sana watched him, hugging her knees. You're different from the other humans on Ember Ring, she whispered. Everyone else looks away. Jax didn't answer for a moment. Then he said, I've seen too many people die alone. I won't let it happen again. He brought the warm drink to Sana. Here, sip slowly. Sana held the cup with both hands. The warmth spread through her, calming the shaking in her arms. Jax, she whispered. What happens next? If someone reports us? If they take her? Jax knelt in front of her, meeting her frightened eyes. They won't take her, he said. And they won't take you. How do you know? She asked. Jax gave the quiet answer of a man who had already decided. Because I won't let them. Sanaa's eyes filled again, not with fear this time, but with trust. The kind of trust no child gives easily. She leaned against him, small head resting on his arm. For the first time since he found her, she slept. Jax didn't move. He stayed beside her and Rilla both, listening to the slow, uneven breathing of a woman fighting for her life, and a child finally resting without fear. Outside, Ember Ring kept turning. Loud, cold, uncaring. But inside this small room, a human had drawn a line, and he wasn't planning to step back. The next morning arrived slowly. Not with sunlight. Ember Ring didn't have real sun, but with a pale glow leaking through the shutters as the station shifted into day mode. Soft lights blinked on outside, humming like tired machinery waking up. Inside Jax's small room, everything was still quiet. Rilla lay on the bed, her breathing no longer sharp and painful. Still weak, but steady. Every inhale was like a reminder that she had survived the night. Sanaa slept curled beside her mother, one arm draped protectively across Rilla's chest. Her small body rose and fell with each breath, the exhaustion of fear finally lifting from her face. Jax stretched his back. He had barely slept, only short moments with one eye half open, listening carefully. Old habits from battlefield nights refused to die. He stood and checked the air filter first. It hummed softly, releasing a faint blue vapor into the mask. The medication cycle had finished. Good. He checked Rilla's temperature next, still warm, but not burning. Her pulse, weak but stable. Her breathing, deep enough to give hope. For the first time since she arrived, Jax allowed himself a small breath of relief. As he moved to the kitchen unit, Rilla's fingers twitched. Her eyes fluttered open, searching the room with slow confusion. Her voice came out dry and thin. "Where am I?" Jax stepped closer. "In my living unit," he said gently. "You were very sick. Your body is still fighting the infection." Rilla blinked slowly, trying to piece things together. She looked down and saw Sanaa sleeping against her. A soft tremble passed through her lips. "She stayed all night?" "Yes," Jax said. "She didn't leave your side." He handed Rilla a small cup of warm, clear water. "Small sips. Don't rush." She tried to lift herself, but her arms shook too much. Jax steadied her carefully, supporting her back without forcing her. "Easy," he said. "You lost a lot of strength." She drank slowly, each sip bringing a little color back to her cheeks. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you help us?" Jax didn't answer immediately. He looked at Sanaa sleeping, then at Rilla's cracked lips and tired eyes. "Because someone should," he finally said. "And because I couldn't walk away." He returned to the small stove and began preparing food. He chopped soft root vegetables, added them to water, and sprinkled in spices that filled the room with a mild, comforting smell. As the pot simmered, Sanaa stirred. She blinked, rubbed her eyes, and sat up fast when she realized her mother was awake. "Mom," she whispered loudly. "You're awake." Rilla smiled weakly and touched her daughter's cheek. "I'm here." Sanaa's eyes filled instantly. "I thought you wouldn't. I thought." Her voice broke. Rilla pulled her close, hugging her gently but firmly. Her fingers trembled, but she held Sanaa like the most precious thing in the world. Jax looked away for a moment, not out of discomfort, but out of respect. When Sanaa finally calmed, Jax brought 2 bowls to the bed. One for her, one for Rilla. Rilla stared at her bowl. "I don't know if I can eat." "Try," Jax said. "Your body needs fuel." Sanaa held the spoon for her mother. "Small bites. I'll help." Rilla took the first bite slowly. It went down rough, but it stayed down. "It's good," she whispered. "It tastes safe." Jax raised an eyebrow. "That's a new compliment." Sanaa giggled softly, a sound that surprised the room. It had been too long since she had laughed. As Rilla ate a little more, her eyes drifted around the room. "This place," she whispered, "is warm." "It's yours for now," Jax said. "Until you can stand. Until you can walk. And longer, if needed." Rilla swallowed hard. "You don't know us. You don't know what trouble follows people like us." "I don't need to know," Jax replied. "You're here. That's enough." She studied his face, searching for a lie, a hidden price, a reason to fear. She found none. Sanaa looked between them, a small spark of hope in her gold eyes. "Can we stay?" she asked quietly. "At least until Mom can breathe normal again?" Jax knelt near her. "You stay as long as you need." Sanaa's shoulders dropped in relief. Rilla breathed out slowly, emotion tightening her voice. You don't understand what this means, she whispered. Jax simply shook his head. I don't need to. Just rest. Rilla touched the edge of the blanket. This is the first time in weeks, she said softly, that I'm not waking up afraid. Jax didn't speak. He adjusted her pillow, checked her breathing once more, and dimmed the lights. Sanaa moved closer to her mother, curling up gently at her side. Rilla's eyes closed, her breath steadying, her body finally relaxing in a safe place. Jax sat back in the chair beside them, arms crossed loosely. Ember Ring continued its noisy rotation outside. But inside this small room, something rare was happening. A sick woman was healing, a frightened child was resting, and a human who had long stopped believing in doing good was finding a new purpose. A fragile moment, but real. And Jax intended to protect it.by the next cycle. Rilla could sit without trembling. Her breath still carried a faint rasp, but the sharp pain was mostly gone. Sanaa stayed glued to her side, helping with water, holding bowls, and smiling every time her mother spoke a full sentence. Jax watched them from behind his stall. He had returned to work for the morning rush, but his attention was split between the sizzling grill and the small window above where Rilla rested. Ember Ring was alive again. Vendors shouting, drones buzzing, workers pushing carts through puddles on the metal floor. For a moment, everything felt normal. Then 3 shadows approached his stall. 2 station wardens, armored in dark blue plates, and 1 hovering surveillance drone with a piercing white eye. Jax's hands froze over the grill. The lead warden stepped forward. Citizen Rowan, he said, we detected unauthorized medical equipment activity near this sector. Jax didn't flinch. What kind of activity? He asked calmly. The drone hovered lower. An off-grid medic filter rig was activated. Your ID placed you in proximity. We are required to investigate. A few customers stepped back quietly. People on Ember Ring knew better than to stand too close. When wardens started asking questions, Jax wiped his hands on a cloth and stepped around the counter. What exactly are you accusing me of? He asked. Harboring an unregistered patient, the warden replied. Possibly carrying infectious disease. Sanaa's face appeared for a moment in the upstairs window. Wide-eyed, frightened, then quickly disappeared again. Jax felt something tighten inside him. He lowered his voice. I helped someone who collapsed near my stall. That's all. The second warden crossed his arms. That's not what the drone scan suggests. Jax's jaw tightened. He kept his tone steady. I was a frontline medic for 8 years. I still treat emergencies. You can check my record. The drone flashed as it processed his ID. Lines of text reflected on its lens. Combat medic veteran, priority clearance. Service history verified. Both wardens hesitated. People nearby whispered. Finally, the lead warden said, if a sick civilian was assisted, protocol demands a transfer report. No, Jax replied. I handled it. That is not your authority, the warden snapped. Jax stepped even closer. Not aggressive, but unshaken. My authority, he said quietly, comes from not letting someone die on cold metal. You want to punish someone for helping? Go ahead. But I'm not handing anyone over. The drone hovered uncertainly. It didn't expect pushback. Not from a civilian. The wardens exchanged a look. The lead one exhaled sharply. Fine. But if that patient becomes a threat, it's on you. Jax didn't blink. I'll take that. The wardens turned and walked away, the drone trailing behind them. Only when their footsteps faded did Jax let out a slow breath. Above, in the small window, Sanaa peeked again, this time with wonder, not fear. He had protected them. He always would. When Jax climbed back to his living unit after the morning rush, Sanaa rushed to him, almost tripping. They were here, she cried. They were looking for us. I know, Jax said. I handled it. Sanaa stared at him as if trying to understand why a stranger would fight wardens for them. Rilla sat on the bed, back propped by pillows. Her face was pale but calmer. You stood up to the wardens, she said softly. Most people wouldn't do that. Most people aren't me, Jax replied. Rilla's lips curved faintly. A small, tired smile. Sanaa tugged on his coat. Are they coming back? Will they take her away? Jax crouched to her level. No one is taking anyone, he said. You're safe. Both of you. Sanaa breathed out, a tiny shaky sigh. Then she did something that surprised even her. She hugged Jax tightly, her small arms wrapped around his chest, like she was holding onto something solid. For the first time in a long time, Jax froze, then slowly placed a hand on her back. You're okay, he whispered. No more running. Later, when Sanaa napped, an ember ring quieted for midday. Jax prepared another treatment cycle for Rila. He checked her breathing. He adjusted her blankets. He made sure the air filter worked. Rila watched him with tired but clear eyes. "You're giving us more than help," she said softly. "You're giving us space to exist." Jax didn't respond. She continued, "You barely know me, but you're risking your license, even your freedom." He looked up. "You're alive, aren't you? That's all the reason I need." Rila lowered her gaze, fingers gripping the blanket. "For the first time in weeks," she whispered, "I feel like we might survive." Jax nodded once. "You will. I'll make sure of it." Outside, Ember Ring continued spinning, loud, ruthless, and uncaring. But inside this small room, 3 lives had begun to orbit each other, in quiet, unspoken safety. Jax didn't plan for it, didn't expect it, didn't ask for it. But he wasn't stepping away now. Not from Rila, not from Sanaa, not from whatever future waited next. Rila woke before Sanaa for the first time in days. The dim morning lights from Ember Ring slid through the shutters and painted faint silver lines across the room. She blinked slowly, surprised that her chest didn't burn the way it used to. Her breath came easier now, still tired, still slow, but no longer fighting against invisible knives inside her lungs. She shifted carefully, and for the first time, her body did not resist. Sanaa stirred beside her, rubbing her eyes. When she saw her mother sitting up on her own, she gasped, bright and hopeful. You're sitting without help." Rila smiled weakly and brushed Sanaa's hair aside. "Only for a little, but it feels like more." Sanaa hugged her tightly, careful not to squeeze too hard. Rila closed her eyes, letting the warmth of her daughter's small arms settle inside her like a promise. That moment was interrupted by the sound of heavy boots on the stairs. Sanaa stiffened instantly, but the door opened, and it was only Jax, carrying a small crate, wiping rain from his coat. Sanaa ran to him. "You're back. And she's better today?" "Look." Jax placed the crate on the counter and looked at Rila. She sat straighter than yesterday, color returning to her cheeks. "That's good," he said. "You're stronger." Rila exhaled, her voice calmer than ever. "I feel like I can stand today, maybe walk a little." Jax raised an eyebrow. "Let's test sitting first. Walking comes later." Sanaa giggled. "She wants to run already." Rila smiled shyly. "I want to feel alive again." Jax placed a supportive hand behind her back. "Slow and steady. You push too hard, you'll fall." Rila met his eyes. "I trust you." Those 3 words made something shift inside him, something he didn't show on his face. Jax cooked a small breakfast. Soft noodles, light broth, and tiny slices of root vegetables. Sanaa ate happily, swinging her legs off the chair. Rila took her time, but she finished half her bowl. "That's enough for now," Jax said. "Your body is rebuilding." Rila touched her chest lightly. "It doesn't hurt as much. Everything feels clearer." Sanaa set her bowl down and looked between them with excitement. "Can we go outside today? Just for a little air?" Rila hesitated. Her eyes flicked toward the door. The world outside was the same world that had hunted them, pushed them into dark corners, and nearly taken her life. But Sanaa's hopeful gaze broke through her fear. Rila looked at Jax. "If you think it's safe?" He nodded. "I won't take you anywhere crowded. Just the balcony. And only for a moment." Rila breathed out. "All right." Jax helped her stand. Her knees shook at first, but she gripped his arm, steadying herself. Sanaa stood behind her, ready to catch her even though she couldn't. They took slow steps to the balcony door. Each movement felt like a small victory. Jax slid the shutters open. A soft breeze from the lower levels drifted inside, smelling of warm metal, simmering spices, and wet rain on steel. Rila stepped into the open space, hands braced on the railing, eyes wide. "I forgot," she whispered, "how big everything is." Workers moved across the platforms below. Steam rose from food stalls. Lights flickered like tiny lanterns in a mechanical forest. Sanaa stretched her arms wide. "It feels like we're on top of the whole ring." Rila closed her eyes, letting the wind touch her face. Her hair fluttered behind her, and for a moment, she looked almost peaceful. Jax watched quietly. She wasn't coughing. She wasn't trembling. She was standing, alive, strong. He didn't say it aloud, but he felt it deeply. This is worth every risk. After a few minutes, Rila swayed. Jax stepped close. "That's enough for today," he said. "You're still recovering." Rila nodded, out of breath. "I understand." Back inside, Sanaa helped her mother sit on the couch. Jax checked her pulse again. It was higher from the walk, but stable. Sanaa leaned against Rila's shoulder. Mom, when you're better, can we stay here? With Jax. Rila tensed. She looked at Jax, unsure. We don't want to be a burden. You've done more than enough. Jax sat across from them, arms relaxed on his knees. You're not a burden, he said simply. You're people who needed help. And now you're part of this place. Sanaa's eyes sparkled. Part of this place, she repeated in a whisper. Rila swallowed. You barely know me, she said. And you're offering safety a home. What? Jax didn't answer immediately. He looked at them. A fragile mother. And a child who had lived in fear for too long. Finally, he said, because you needed someone who wouldn't walk away. And I'm not walking away. Rila's breath caught. Not from sickness, but from something softer, deeper, that she hadn't felt in a long time. Sanaa crawled onto Jax's knee without warning and hugged him tightly. You're staying with us, right? She asked. Jax placed a gentle hand on her back. I'm right here, he said, and I'm not going anywhere. Outside, ember rings spun endlessly through the void. Cold, harsh, unforgiving. But inside this small living unit, something warm was forming. Something stronger than fear. Something like family. And none of them knew it yet. But this was only the beginning of a life-changing bond. The next cycle began with soft humming lights. The usual heartbeat of Ember Ring. But inside Jax's living unit, the air felt different. Quieter, warmer, almost hopeful. Rila stood on her own feet for the first time. Her steps were slow, her legs still weak. But she moved without collapsing. The improvement was real. Sanaa clapped her hands excitedly. You're walking, Mom. You're really walking. Rila laughed softly, a sound full of surprise. I didn't think this day would come so soon. Jax watched them from near the kitchen. He didn't smile often, but right now the corner of his mouth lifted just enough. You're getting stronger, he said. Soon you'll be able to move around on your own. Rila brushed a stray strand of silver hair behind her ear, her cheeks glowing with renewed life. It's because of you, Jax. If you hadn't taken us in. He shook his head lightly. You survived because you fought. I only helped you finish the fight. Sanaa looked at him with big shining eyes. And now we can stay with you? Rila inhaled sharply, unsure how to answer. But Jax spoke first, steady and calm. Yes, if you want. Both of you. Rila felt her chest tighten. Not from sickness, but from emotion she wasn't used to. You don't even know what that means, she whispered. We come with danger. With problems. Jax stepped closer. I know what it means, he said. And I want you here anyway. Sanaa ran forward and hugged him so tightly. He nearly lost balance. We have a home now, she declared proudly. Rila looked at the scene with tears forming, her body trembling softly. Not from weakness, but from something like gratitude. Something like love. Later that day, Jax brought them downstairs to the stall. Only for a short time, just to see how much Rila could handle. The market was busier than usual. Steam rose off grills. Vendors shouted prices. Customers lined the walkways. Rila stayed close to Jax, her hand resting lightly on his arm for balance. Sanaa skipped beside them, clearly proud to be part of something real. Once they reached the stall, Rila touched the clean metal counter with her fingertips. This is where you work, she said. It feels alive. It keeps the place running, Jax replied. A regular customer approached, noticed Rila, and offered a small nod. She's new, he asked. Jax didn't hesitate. She's part of the team. Rila's eyes widened. That simple sentence carrying more weight than he realized. Sanaa climbed onto her little stool behind the counter. Can I hand out the bowls today? She asked excitedly. Jax nodded. Just the clean ones. Sanaa saluted seriously. Yes, boss. Rila laughed. A warm, gentle laugh she didn't think she'd ever feel again. For the first time since arriving on Ember Ring. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't running. She wasn't sick and alone. She belonged somewhere. When the rush ended, Jax closed the stall and guided them back upstairs. Rila walked slower now. Her strength was fading from the effort. But she didn't collapse. Inside the living unit, Sanaa dropped onto the couch, exhausted but happy. Rila remained near the balcony, hands resting on the railing, eyes watching the endless structure of Ember Ring glow orange in the distance. Jax stepped beside her. You did well today, he said. She nodded softly. It felt good. To stand. To help. To be part of something. You are part of something, Jax replied. Rila turned toward him, searching his face for doubt. She found none. You really want us here? She asked quietly. Not out of duty. Not because you saved me, but because you choose us. Yes, he said simply. Sana, half asleep on the couch, mumbled. He chooses us, and we choose him. Rilla smiled at that, a soft, fragile smile that warmed the whole room. She placed her hand on Jax's arm. Then we stay? Not as guests. As family. Jax didn't move for a moment. Then he nodded, slow and certain. Family, then. As they prepared for the night. Sana curled under her blanket, already drifting into dreams. Rilla sat on the edge of the bed, legs tucked beneath her, breathing calmly. Jax turned down the lights, leaving only the warm glow from the small lamp near the window. Rilla watched him quietly. You gave us hope, she whispered. We thought we were done. We thought the ring would swallow us whole. Jax looked at her with steady, tired eyes. No one deserves to be forgotten, he said. She reached out and placed her fingers gently over his hand. And no one deserves to stand alone, she replied. Their hands remained touching for a quiet moment. A soft, unspoken promise. Outside, Ember Ring continued spinning, cold metal turning through endless space. But inside this small room, something warm had grown. A tiny world built from kindness, trust, and courage. A world where a starving child, a dying mother, and a lonely medic found each other and refused to let go. And above the balcony, a soft voice echoed from Sana's blanket pile. We're home now. Rilla closed her eyes. Yes, she whispered, finally believing it. We're home.